What's up, everybody? It's your boy Rhett here. Today we're talking about one, what it's like being a little bit older going into boot camp. Two, my thoughts on the new Type 3 NWUs, and also the new retirement system, the blended retirement system that just got implemented January 1st of this year, and kind of generally break it down. I don't use it, so I'm just going to give you the basics for it. First, going to go ahead and talk about what it's like being older, going to the Navy boot camp. Got a comment from one of my recent subscribers saying he's 29, about to go out into boot camp here pretty soon, and wondering what it's like age range wise and what it might be like for him being older going to boot camp. So I am 23. I went into boot camp 23, and the average age for boot camp was about 18, 19, somewhere in there. The next oldest, there's only one person older than me. He was 28. Other than that, I was the oldest one. We had a couple of 21-year-olds, 20, and the rest were all 18 and 19. So first thing they did was my RDCs pulled my record and then the guy that was older than me, and they basically just pulled us in the office, and they looked at me and looked at him and looked back at me and said, you're the oldest, or the second oldest here, and I was the more assertive one of the two for those couple of days that we were there, from them watching us. And he's like, you're going to be RPOC. And he said, don't get used to it, because no one ever makes it RPOC the whole way. And I said, I bet, Chief. I made it the whole fucking way. So who got out of that? So yeah, with that being said, that's just an example that you being older, you're probably automatically going to get put in a leadership position. And you're not going to volunteer for it. I mean, I would suggest volunteering for it, because then you get to pick. I'd recommend being something like RPOC, or if you can sing pretty well, be A-Rock. I'm already wasting time on this. The point is that you're older, you have more life experience, so they're going to have higher expectations for you, and they're going to stick you in leadership positions, because the 18 and 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds, like, they don't know jack shit. So they're just going to have higher expectations for you. So, moving on. Thoughts on the new Type 3 uniforms. So, I own both pairs, but this is the new uniforms. When you get them in boot camp, you're not going to have these patches. So, off the top of my head, I have a notebook here, and I'm not really even going off my notes. But off the top of my head, pros and cons between these and the old ones. Go ahead and start with these. First thing right off the bat, when I put them on, these are really lightweight compared to the other ones. The other ones are really durable, but they're pretty heavy. So whenever you get IT'd or beat, whatever you want to call it, in boot camp, you're going to get push-ups, 10 counts, flutter kicks, you name it, for anywhere between like 45 minutes. Longest I did was 2 hours. You're not going to sweat as much in these as you would have the blues, because they're heavier. Another thing, look-wise, the patches are pretty dope. Not going to lie, the blues don't have those. What else? Oh, battle dress. So the collar, when you go to battle dress, you're going to button this top button, and it's got this little flap here. So that's pretty freaking awesome. One thing to note is they used to put the ranks, on the collar device right here. For the blues, they put, if it was a petty officer, a chief or something, they'd have that sewn in right here. They don't do that on these anymore. They put it right here on the sternum, just like, the Air Force and no, not the Air Force, the Marines and the Army. So I'm trying to conform to the other branches. I don't fucking know why. What else? Cons. The things I don't like about these. My buttons broke pretty easy. Like this one. No idea how that happened. I didn't even do anything to it. It just broke. And that was a pretty reoccurring thing in boot camp. The way they fit, mine fits pretty okay, but like everyone else's, the blouse is pretty loose fitting as opposed to the blues having more of an athletic fit, being more tied around your waist. These are a little loose, so I mean, it's just gonna cover up your girlish figure. Cons, and that's pretty much it. I mean, they're pretty cool. I prefer the blues better than the greens. Personally, I think they look better. The pros and cons for the blues. Start with the pros. Like I said, I think they look cooler. The blue versus the green. That's just the color. The athletic fit, I already mentioned. The collar is a little bit thicker as far as like it's bigger than the greens are. I don't know if that's a pro or a con or not. Another pro, the like all the rank on these ones and the name tapes is all black. So it makes it really hard, especially on the right here, seeing a senior chief and seeing that star. It's a pain in the butt. Like sometimes you just got to get like right in their chest to see it, because you don't want to in boot camp, man. You don't want to call them wrong. You don't want to call a senior chief a chief. It's gonna be a bad day for you. The blues with the white name tape, and especially being right here, super easy to tell. The petty officers have white, and then chiefs and officers have gold. So it's like pretty easy to see that. Like I said, they're more durable. They're heavier. Con for them, they're heavier. Now, 2019, I want to say it's September is what I heard. September, October. I could be wrong. Also kind of depends on the command you go to or whatever. But everyone's changing over to the greens. Unless they change that back. I don't think they waste all this money on the uniforms and change it back. Everyone's changing the greens. So pro, getting the greens, you're not going to have to buy them. Everyone wearing the blues, come 2019, are going to have to buy the greens. Which buying one set of them, plus all the shirts, the brown shirts you got to wear underneath them, plus the parka that the all-weather coat you got to wear with it, it's like $350 for like one set. Luckily, I'm an engineer, so I don't ever wear them anyway. That's another pro for you guys about to go to boot camp that are going to get the greens, or if you've already got out of boot camp and you're already wearing the greens, pro, you don't have to buy them. You can just, every year they give you a uniform allowance, and, you can just pocket that if you're not going to need to buy any uniforms. What else? Cons on the blues, they don't have the patches, like I mentioned, minor detail. But pros and cons for them, I think it's a pointless thing to argue about, because come a year from now, everyone's going to be wearing the greens. So there's a chance that when you get to your A school, all the blueberries are going to be making fun of you, calling you green beans or boogers or whatever, guacamoles. Kind of a con. Once again, everyone's going to be wearing them, so I don't see the point. All right, moving on. New retirement system, the blended retirement system. So I luckily graduated in the hot spot right in between the old retirement system and this new one. So I got to choose which one I thought would be better for me. I decided to stick with the old one because I plan on, go ahead and putting in 20 years or whatever. The new retirement system, if you graduated boot camp after January 1st or you're about to leave, sucks to be you. You don't have a choice. So you kind of you got what you got. So I'm going to go ahead and break this down for you. The blended retirement system is all basically, I don't know who it was that did a study. Basically, the Navy said that something like 93, somewhere between 93 and like 96% of active duty Navy personnel that enlist in the Navy don't put in enough time to retire with full benefits, aka 20 years. They just get out with 4 or whatever years they put in, and they basically get nothing for it, because in order to retire full benefits, you got to put in those 20 years. So this whole new system is to try to combat that. So even if you put in 4 years, you put in 8 years, 12 years, whatever, you still get something when you get out. So you got something to put towards your retirement. So here's how it works. It starts out with after what is it, 6 months. 6 months. So 6 months starting from the day you ship to boot camp. So starting there, 6 months later, boom, the Navy is going to say, all right, we're going to go ahead and match your TSP, which is like the Navy's 401k, which is money you can put towards a. It's not 401k you put in a savings account. I mean, initially it does, but it's more of like an investment that goes towards stocks. When you get out of boot camp, the first thing you're going to go through is an indoctrination class, and they're going to kind of explain that. So I'm not even going to go into TSP right now. Just think of it as a 401k. After 6 months, they're going to say, okay, cool, we're going to go ahead and match that by 2%. Okay, so if you put in, or up to 2%. So let's say I'm putting in 3% right now. 3% of my paycheck, my base pay is going towards my TSP, which is my retirement fund. They're going to match up to 2% right off the bat. Then, after 2 years, they will match an additional up to 4%. So if I'm putting in, for example, 3%, they're going to put 3% in because, like I said, we're matching. If I put in 4%, they're going to put 4% in. But if I put in 5, they're only going to put 4. Because, like I said, up to 4%. And then, so they're going to continue matching that as, you know, you serve. And you continue contributing to that TSP fund. Now, once you retire, let's say I put in 20 years. No, let's say I put in 25 years. What they're going to do is they're going to multiply the years of service you did times 2, and and that's going to be the percentage of your final averaged 36 months base pay that you're going to get for until you die, basically. Or once you turn, that's when you retire. So let's say I retire after 25 years of service, okay? That means 2 times 25, 50%, easy day. So that means I'm going to get 50% of my retired base pay. Now, what that 36 average pay means is, let's say I get out 25 years, I'm an engineer, so let's say I'm somewhere between E6 and E8. So we'll say I made chief sometime in those last 3 years. They're going to average what I was being paid as a first class E6, and then what I was being paid as a chief E7. They're going to average that, and I'm going to get half of that for the rest of my life. So let's say 25 years in, I'm making, $7,000 a month. I don't even know how accurate that is at E7. 25 years of service is probably a little more than that. Just spitballing here. That means I'm going to have 50% of that, which is $3,500. I'm going to get that every single month for the rest of my life till I freaking die. That's basically what TSP does. There's no point in, I'm not going to explain the old system. Basically, this new system, though, is more beneficial to you if you're not planning to stay in a super long time. That's basically it. So that's pretty much it for this video. Like I said, touched on what it's like being older going into boot camp, new uniforms, my thoughts on those versus the old ones, and that new blended retirement system. Got any questions for me? First, check out the other videos. Make sure I didn't answer your questions before. If not, drop a comment below, and I will answer it in the comments if it's something simple, or I'll just go ahead and create a new video, hit you with a comment, be like, yo, I posted a video. All right, cool. Subscribe, like, have an awesome day.